Hi, I am Ashley Forsythe, and I'm the owner of Health and Fitness Meals in Salt Lake City, Utah. I have with me here today Heidi Campo. Hey, Heidi.
Hi.
And she is the owner of Body Temple Aesthetics. So, oops. There you go. She's the owner of Body Temple Aesthetics, and overall, your mission is to empower people to create a better life for themselves through personal training, remote coaching, nutrition, small group training, and yoga. So she's a certified personal trainer who completely works for herself and owns her own gym that she operates out of. So Heidi, tell me a little bit about, how do I know you? Because I know we have a history. We know each other.
Yeah, so I remember seeing you back at the University of Utah. We were both doing undergrad together, and we were training together at the gym. And I think I first picked you out because you had like a 6-pack bag or something, or you were meal prepping, and I was like, oh, she's one of my people. Like she fitness on another level. And we connected and kind of bonded through figure bodybuilding competitions, and just got to know each other a little bit over the years through business ownership competitions and just hanging out.
Yeah, and so I would started to see you backstage at like every bodybuilding show because we both have clients, so we'd both be back there either competing or doing our own gluing the bikini to some girl's ass, doing something. We were always backstage at these bodybuilding competitions that were local for a while, and just got really familiar with each other. So I really respect you because of, it's always been obvious that you're such a hustler. Like, you work really hard. You're independent. You've owned your own business. I can tell you this right now. I don't think I've ever known you to work for somebody else. Like, I don't think you worked as a personal trainer in the field house gym at the university, which basically is still running your own business because you're doing your own marketing. If you're working for, you're getting your own clients, you're building your own brand and everything. But yeah, I don't think I've ever known you to have like a normal type of job for somebody else.
Except for a normal job.
You what?
I don't think I've known myself.
Yeah, but anyway, so one thing I really admire about Heidi is your full work ethic. I mean, you don't stop working, and you even literally, you leased a gym from somebody, gym space for your training clients, and I guess you needed to get into your own space really fast, and I was so impressed. I mean, you just literally dropped off the map, you stopped talking, you're like, I'm really busy, I'm opening my own gym, and I'm like, what? And then I went and visited, and I mean, God, you put that together so fast, and yeah, so those are some things that I really admire about you, but I want to talk specifically about you and how you got into your line of work, like how you got into personal training.
Yeah, so back in 2005, I started working at 15 years old as a swim coach, and from there it evolved into, like, I didn't even plan on it. I was a good swimmer, and then people would start asking me if I could help them get ready for a triathlon, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I could do that, and I just sort of happened, and I realized I really enjoyed it. I loved working with people, and it just evolved from there. I became a certified yoga instructor, and I wanted to get better at certain arm balances, so I started lifting weights. And then I was like, ooh, I really like strength training. I want to learn more about that. So I went on to become a personal trainer, and then I went on to compete in bodybuilding, then went on to compete in powerlifting, and then went on to compete in strongman competitions. And now I'm kind of getting back to my roots, and I'm getting more into just yoga and lifting weights for recreation. But it's always been an evolution for me to just continue to better myself and to better my path, and just to learn more about fitness as a whole and the human body as a whole, and how to motivate people and how to interact with people.
Okay, so that's awesome. I'm really glad. I mean, I think your passion for what you do definitely stands behind your branding. I know I talk a lot about every woman I've interviewed. We're like, if you don't love what you're doing, don't do it. Everyone's going to read it. Everyone's going to tell. Like, your clients are going to tell. So it's so obvious about you that you're passionate about it. And specifically, like I said, I can't really remember you having a normal job or not working for yourself. So maybe entrepreneurship has always been really natural for you, which is like really unique in a lot of circumstances. But specifically, what pushed you to make the final leap into, let's just talk about BTA, creating body temple aesthetics.
Yeah, so when I first moved to Utah, well, back to Utah, I grew up here, and when I first moved back here in 2011, I tried to open up my first business, and it was Fitness by Heidi. And I didn't have a network here. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a brand new personal trainer, and I just knew I wanted to help people, but I really didn't know how. And it didn't quite work out. And so I went and I started working for a big box gym. And I just did not like what they were doing with the clientele. And they were a lot more concerned about the bottom line than they were the client results. And they were always more willing to celebrate a client purchasing more packages than they were someone's life being improved. So I was really turned off by that and ended up leaving that big box gym, went and started coaching at the University of Utah, which was a much better experience because they pretty much just said, okay, here you are, now go train. And so you're right, it was like I was just running my own business there. While I was working in the gym, I just did my own thing. And I knew that it had an expiration date on it. The job at the University of Utah was only available while I was a student. So it was always kind of my plan to just continue on after that. So what I did is I just, in 2013, I opened up Body Temple Aesthetics. I originally named it that way because that was back when I was really into bodybuilding, and I wanted the name to reflect that I cared about your body as a temple, and you should treat it well, but you can also look really good while doing it. So I did originally start focusing on bodybuilding and powerlifting, and from there it just kind of evolved into its own thing based on the people I've worked with and the people I've enjoyed working with, and now it's I don't really work with bodybuilders anymore. I just am not so much involved in that community, but I have a lot of women who are coming to me who just want to be stronger. I had one of my clients tell me that I'm like, I'm for girls who are graduating for CrossFit. So you start at like maybe like CrossFit or some like group sort of class, and then you want to take it up a notch. And I've been totally self-employed since 2013. I've had little jobs here and there. Like Ashley knows, I worked as a bouncer for a while, about a year almost. I was a bouncer, and those are sometimes the things you have to do when you are running a business, so that you can keep putting resources back into the business. And I think that's something that is important, is that I have not kept the profits to myself. I reinvest about like the majority of my income back into the business and back into my clients in the form of either educating myself and becoming a better trainer for my clients, or just providing them with a nicer space or better equipment or something that I can just improve their experience.
Awesome. Well, I think that leads us right into my next question, where specifically I wanted to talk with you about this because I think you're a really great example, is staying on top of, I guess, like your education, your certifications, what your credentials are, where you went to school, and how do you make sure that you are, I mean, science research is always changing, things are always being put out. Like, how do you make sure that you are the best source of resource for your clients and maintaining that?
Yeah. So to me, that is something that is kind of natural to me. It's like, okay, well, what's the gold standard? And then go. There's not a question to me there. It's like, for me, a long time that meant that I had to be a professional athlete and have a PhD and, write for, Shape Magazine. And, there's certain things that as I've evolved have become more realistic or not realistic. And I do have my education. I have a bachelor's of science from the University of Utah, and I'm starting grad school next month. I'm going to be getting a degree in a master's of science in strength and conditioning, which is all about the application of the science. I do have the NSCA certified strength and conditioning specialist certification, which is I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but it is kind of the most respected certification in the industry. You have to have a bachelor's degree to get it. Any professional coaches, working for the NFL or collegiate teams or even Olympic teams, they're going to be CSCS certified.
You should toot your own horn. You should be proud of that. That's a very good credential. And tell me a little bit about how do you make sure you're getting these certifications that are like legitimate and not just like an ad that's telling you that this is going to be, where do you get that information from?
Yeah, so I pay attention to the legitimate science, and I don't read like articles on certain blogs. I go to the source, I go to the research, I go to the textbooks, and I pay attention to who is writing that, because they are the ones who are the experts. And I noticed that the majority of the experts were CSCS certified. And so I looked into it and I'm like, well, what is this? Why do all the people that I respect have this? And how do I get this? So I do like to read a lot of research. A lot of people find it to be boring and complicated, but I'm really grateful for my college education. Even classes that people think are boring, like statistics. Statistics is a very valuable course because it's going to teach you how to read science, which can be really complicated for some people. And if you don't read the science and if you don't understand how to read research, then you're going to be susceptible to pseudoscience that might teach that, oh, well, we read it and said this. And then you go and read the actual research and you're like, well, this research isn't even valid. So I do like to go and read the actual research. And sometimes it's on par with popular science, and other times it's totally different than what's popular in just fitness at the moment. So I do like to go to the source.
That's definitely true, because I know there's so many fad diets and like fads, like things that become popular, like, I don't know, freaking crunch machines and booty belts, and like, everybody like has the new thing. And so what do you do? Scholarly certified articles? Is that where you're go to the source for? Is that where?
Yeah, just do like PubMed or Google Scholar. I did my internship at the University of Utah in the athletics department. So I worked with like the basketball team, swim team, gymnastics, and the really special part of that whole internship was the coaches. And they gave me piles of research to read that were just wonderful articles.
That's awesome. So, anyways, I'm glad we got to talk about this, because it's one of the things I really respect about you. And I think just for our viewers or anybody, if you're not starting a business, even in personal training, there's different certifications for different things. There's different market research. There's different things that you're responsible for staying on top of. So all of the sources might not be relevant to you and your company, like what Heidi is saying, but it's all the same things applied, I think, across the board, is to stay up on your education and making sure that you are knowledgeable and you've got real information. Let's see.
Well, I always joke and I say that it's like the human centipede of fitness information. You have the source of the information here and it just gets fed down the chain. It's like the telephone game. And then by the time it gets to a lot of people, then it's just totally watered down and changed and warped. So even if you're in any sort of industry, if you're in photography, you don't necessarily want to read photography like last stop blogs. Go to who they're paying attention to. Who's mentoring that person, go to who's mentoring that person, and work your way up to figure out who the real industry experts are.
Good. That's really good general advice, I think, for anybody in any industry. But as far as back to personal training for people, I think that a lot of things that people do is they look and they're like, that person looks amazing. They must know exactly what they're talking about. They're definitely who I want to be my trainer. And I've heard that that's the worst thing to do, is to pick somebody based on what they look like, because you don't know what steroids they're taking. You don't know what genetics they have. You don't know who, they probably just have a coach and does whatever their coach says. And then suddenly physically their physique makes them an expert on the topic. And I think that's so hard. I get a lot of people sending me I get clients with diet plans from these people, and then they don't even make sense. It's like so difficult, and it's so difficult to like know that there are people out there just like leeching onto the words of these people who have no idea what they're talking about. So definitely, if you are searching for a personal trainer, make sure to find somebody like Heidi who actually has some base knowledge and is going to keep up on their research because they care about the client, they care about them. So anyway, so the next part is we're going to talk about women business owners in general. And if you were to kind of give them any advice, if you have something to leave with them with or to say to them today to maybe make them feel confident and get going on their own for themselves, what would that be?
You know, that's something that's so personal for everyone, but what's given me a lot of just strength and really empowered me in my life is me. A lot of us have heard the story about, you burn the ships. And whenever I do something, I come to go all in. And that has turned out really amazing for me in some cases and very terrible in other cases. And my advice for anyone is if you are passionate about something, throw yourself all in. Like, before you even, what I do is before I even understand how I'm going to be doing something, I'm already enrolled in it. And I will make it happen. And I don't wait for conditions to be perfect. I don't wait to have a perfect body before I start coaching. If you wait to be perfect in any aspect, you will wait forever. So just start and figure it out as you go.
I love that so much. And I mean, you definitely live that advice that you're giving to them. I mean, conditions were not perfect for you. It leads us right into our next topic. They were not perfect for you when you found yourself in a position where you needed to get your own gym space and you needed to get it fast. So our next topic that I think we can kind of give advice to any woman or any person trying to start a business is commercial real estate, because you had a crash course in it. So why don't you tell us about you getting into your own gym? Talk to us about budgeting, talk to us about location, talk to us about real estate agents, like everything.
Yeah, so I have 30 days to find my gym, and I found a great realtor. Honestly, I don't know how I found him. I kind of just got lucky. His name's Bill Nieves. He's with Keller Williams Commercial Realty. And he sat down with me and we talked about my budget. We talked about what I needed. And we probably looked at 6 different spaces. And then we found one that worked. And I think it's one of those things where, because of my experience working with my clients, I've taught my clients that they need to listen to me. I'm the expert in fitness. And with my experience with my real estate agent, I just decided to trust him because he's the expert in real estate. So part of my success is that I trusted him and listened to him and followed his lead. He said, he's like, what are your goals? And then he was like, okay. And then it was his job to find me a space. And so that was really cool. And I think a big part of just like being an entrepreneur is that you do need to kind of trust people who are specialists in their field also. Because I'm not an expert in real estate, but I did have a really good, clear picture of what I wanted, which helped him do his job really well.
And you had a very specific need for your location. So why don't you tell us about the importance of that in your search?
Yeah, so with personal training, you can't move very far or you'll probably lose clients. So I was in just one location training my clients there, and we found a space that's like a 6-minute drive away from the other location. There were factors that were really important to me in just space, like how far away it was from my old gym was really important. And it was important to me that it was like kind of like not inaccessible, but it wasn't like right off the freeway maybe not right off the freeway. I probably would have taken space there too, but I wanted it to be easy for my clients to find. I wanted there to be parking. I wanted it to be a place where maybe it wasn't right next to a homeless shelter, so my clients coming in at 6 a.m. would feel comfortable with me. And there's probably thousands of factors that went into it. And this one worked out great for me. And another thing that I'm really excited about is that this particular space is something that I could afford. While we were looking at gyms, we looked at about 6 other possible units before I settled on this one. And I want to say maybe 4 of them had been gyms previously that did not work out. So it was kind of nerve-wracking to me to think that all these people are failing at business ownership and gym ownership. And I think it's really important to kind of scale correctly and to think about what you can afford and what's realistic. And I'm scaling slowly. I've got into some things that's like about making even, but then I'm just going to step up from there.
Well, that's one other thing I want to highlight is that if you are looking for commercial real estate, location, but then also something that's easily convertible. So if you do find another business that was like yours there previously, you have less renovations to do to the spot, which I know is helpful for you. The flooring was perfect when you went in there, so you didn't have to do anything with that. And they already had a wall of mirrors, right?
We actually put in the floor.
Oh.
We put in the floor. My boyfriend and I, we did that. So I signed the lease, and 2 days later we had the floor in. So that credit goes to my boyfriend. He was a superhero when it came to that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So, but I mean, generally speaking, the space was already kind of renovated for what you were doing, which was great. And tell me about, you were really smart as far as like getting it furnished, getting stuff in there. You had a budget and you stuck really well to it. Tell us about where you did, what you went, what you looked for.
Yeah, so it had always been my dream to open up a gym. So I'd been collecting equipment for about 2 years. And then when it came time to open up the gym, all I really needed to get was a few big pieces. Like I needed to get a leg press and a dumbbell rack and like just a couple other big pieces. But the reason why I was able to keep it at such a low startup cost is that I had been collecting things over time. I bought a lot of stuff used on Facebook Marketplace, and I continued to get used stuff even after I moved in. And I'm still not totally done. I'll probably get a few more little things here and there, but it's okay to buy things used. And one nice thing about gym equipment is that it's not necessarily going to depreciate that much. It's like, it's metal. It's not going to fall apart that easily. So it keeps its value. So I was excited just to be able to get a few things that worked out really well.
And you went straight to like the wholesale providers for furniture pieces, right?
Yeah. And that was a really cool one. Like I found this, like it's like a bench where my clients can sit down on, they can put their stuff underneath, there's coat racks on it. And it's like this beautiful piece. And I got it for like $32 at the warehouse, like where they manufacture it. Whereas normally something like that would be like $300 if you bought it from the store.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And when I made it to your place finally after you were done, I was just like, oh, dang. Like I was so impressed with everything that you were able to put together. And I was like, this is why I haven't heard from you for a couple months. Like, okay, good job. Good for you. Like, I'm glad you made good efforts of your time. And it far exceeded any expectation. You did a wonderful job with it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so that's all the questions that I had specifically for you today. And the last is a question that you are supposed to have for me. And I don't know what you're going to ask me, so I'm going to be kind of on the spot here. So tell me what you wanted to ask me.
I was thinking about this, and I think what I wanted to ask you is how do you manage work-life balance? That's something that is a newer thing that I'm getting into, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with it. So how do you manage work-life balance, or how do you want to manage work-life balance?
I think this is something I'm actually usually all right at, but I mean, I was like, don't ask me this question right now. I have like no work-life balance right now. I literally have so many new projects. I'm probably building another business right now, which actually this is the first time I think I've said it. I'm in the middle of probably opening up another LLC, but you know what it is. Yes, you do.
I think
it's the nutrition platform.
Okay.
And so like on top of health and fitness meals, I'm going to like separate and relicense for a nutrition platform that I've created. And I started Boss Lady Sundays. So I mean, literally I work through the weekends and I go into the kitchen for health and fitness meals, and then I work until I go to bed. But I'm kind of taking this opportunity right now because I don't know, like this is the time of my life. I really want to launch these things. I've got some serious 90-day goals to hit. So I've just been throwing myself all in it. I'm just taking Heidi's advice and I'm like going all in. So work-life balance for me isn't great, but I still feel like I take the time to get out. I have really good family relationships. I make plenty of time to see like my brother, my sisters, my mom, my dad, my niece. I have a good
dinner tonight.
Yes, and we have dinner tomorrow night. You just have to schedule it. I think a big thing for me is that I put everything in my calendar. And everything. So
in my commute and my sleep. I put commute and sleep on my schedule.
Okay, that's intense. I don't do a commute, but I live generally close to everything that I have to get to. But I mean, I am in my calendar. You see business meetings. You see like my hours in the kitchen. You're gonna see my dinner dates with friends. You're gonna see family barbecues. I schedule everything. I think your calendar is your best friend, and it's important because if you do get social things, you do want to put them in there because they are important. They are a priority. We do want to see, these important people in our lives. Relationships are beneficial for so many reasons, and you don't want to ignore them. So you schedule it in there. You schedule them in advance. Mostly all of my adult friends and all my female entrepreneur friends, we're like weeks out. Like we're like, all right, let's plan something and it's going to be in at least 2 weeks. But if you put it in there, then you're not going to schedule a business meeting over it. You're going to be like, oh, I can't do this. I've got this. So really important is to schedule everything, including the social things, making sure that you have time for those people. But not right now, but generally I try to set a time for when you're done with work. So like, all right, and you will stop working at this time. You will not work past this time. I have a lot of like a calendar online that people can schedule appointments with me, and I schedule them carefully. I know when I'm going to be available, and I don't let them exceed my comfort zone. So I'm not going to take any appointments after 6 p.m. I don't even know if that's the exact time. It might be a little earlier than that, but I do the cutoff. I don't allow people to schedule with me past certain times. And yeah, I just think owning your own schedule, realizing that as a business owner, you literally, I don't know, you're never done. You are never done. You always have another project. So you have to be like, I'm done today and I'll do that tomorrow. Or I will do that at the end of the weekend on Monday. So yeah, just knowing your limits, setting the schedule, and telling yourself when you're done with work. Oh, I've got a good one. I have two phones. I have a work phone and I have a personal phone, so that I can take my work phone and I can leave it at home. I can leave it to charge, and I won't have to handle anything like that. So I'm very, very picky about who I give my personal phone number to. And even friends that I do business with, I'm like, I know this sounds weird, but can you please hit me up at this number if it's about business? And if you're being my friend and you want to hit me up about this, try to do this number. Try to keep them separate. Try to keep your life separated.
Yeah, that's good advice. I should do that.
Yes, you should. All right, well, thank you so much, Heidi. I'm so glad that I got to talk with you today, and I'll get to see you tomorrow, but thank you for coming on and doing my interview. I think that you have so much helpful information, and so I hope that people got to learn from you today.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.